Independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. It is another BlackBerry Tweeting Tuesday. Stay up to date with all the latest Blue Jays news and information by following the club on Twitter. Submit your questions during tonight's game to @BlueJays, and your question could be selected as our Twitter fan question of the night. Joe Madden's Rays are on a hot streak, 22-14. They've been a terrific club at home, and last night they got closer to 500 on the road. There you see their record. Ben Zobrist continues to hit in that leadoff spot. Zobrist, the 9th time he's been hitting top of the order, and he's done a good job on this road trip. He's batted .320, 8 for 25, a couple of homers and 4 RBIs. Upton, Joyce, Pena, they're trying to overcome the loss of Evan Longoria, and so far they've done a pretty good job.
They certainly have. 22-year-old Henderson Alvarez makes his 8th start of the season, an 18th big league start, won his 3rd straight last time out, pitching 7 innings and giving up just 1 earned run to the Minnesota Twins.
First pitch of the ball game is down and away.
For his career against the Tampa Bay Rays, he has faced them twice. He's 0-2 and has been touched up for 5 earned runs in 12 1/3 innings versus Tampa.
Henderson Alvarez threw that first pitch down and away at 98 miles an hour. He's always had better velocity in the first inning, then kind of settles in the low to mid 90s. There's another good pitch at 96.
Well, he's got a little bit of giddy up to his fastball here early in the ball game.
He's going to be pretty good when he grows up. 22 years old. He turned 22 in April. Hooked foul. Ben Zobrist in last night's game hit a home run in the 9th inning. First pitch he saw from Carlos Villanueva. He was 1 for 4, scored a couple of runs. Lazy fly ball into left. Rajay Davis is starting in left tonight. 1 down.
Take a look at the scouting report for Henderson Alvarez, brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. Now, this is the comparison between 2011 Henderson Alvarez and this year in 2012. More sliders, fewer changeups, and just about the same amount of fastballs. The interesting thing with Henderson Alvarez is his ability with the fastball to go inside and outside. That's the one thing that I've seen different from him in 2012 from last year.
First pitch strike to B.J. Upton. Upton hitting in that 2 spot. Last year it was a real good place for him in the batting order. Fastball misses downstairs. Upton hit second 23 times a year ago and hit .356. Came late in the season and he really took off.
Just got into a good spot hitting in front of Evan Longoria, behind Desmond Jennings. Saw a lot of fastballs. The power game came back for B.J. Upton last year. And now this year he started off very slowly. He was on the disabled list. Right now he's in a little bit of a funk offensively.
Popped up over near Tampa Bay's dugout. Encarnacion reaching over and holds on to it. What a good effort by Edwin Encarnacion. He got to that wall, leaned in, and then got his bare hand on top of that ball. It was just trying to sneak out of his glove.
Yeah, just smothered it as he fell into those stands over there. First thing you want to do as a fielder is you got to get to the stands. You got to judge that the ball is going to be in the stands. You get there, you find the wall, and then find the ball. And that's exactly what he did as he smothers that ball with his bare hand. Watch it. It goes into the glove. It looks like it's going to try and come out. And he says, not tonight. Good play.
Umpire Dan Isonio was right there to make sure that ball didn't pop loose. Good play by Edwin. Matt Joyce. And he bunts it up the third base line. Alvarez is going to throw it away. This is the 2nd time in as many starts we've seen Alvarez make an ill-advised throw. Right there, you just got to concede the bunt single. He tried to do that against Minnesota. Eric Komatsu put down a bunt in the very same spot. And it was a desperation throw. No reason at all to make that throw.
You're right. You've got to concede that. They've got the overshift on. He's got the whole left side. It's a perfect bunt by Matt Joyce. So you say, okay, you tip your hat to him. You say, all right, you're at first base. You're not in scoring position. But with this play right here, trying to make something where nothing is there. You can see from that replay, even if his throw was on target, he was going to be safe.
Especially with the defense aligned the way it was. You have to concede one base, and you can't allow the base runner to get into scoring position with 2 outs.
That's exactly right. So those are the little learning things that a young pitcher has to figure out.
Carlos Pena, the cleanup hitter. First pitch right into that shift. Kelly Johnson there, and the air doesn't hurt. Pena hit it hard, but right at the second baseman. Edwin Encarnacion making his 8th start of the season at first. Starts out the night with a good defensive play. Ben Francisco is the DH. He has hit well against the Rays in his career. 8 doubles, 6 home runs, and 19 RBIs. Kelly Johnson, Yunel Escobar, Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion's in the cleanup spot tonight. Ben Francisco, Laurie Rasmus. Jeff Mathis has a home run against David Price. He's catching tonight, and Rajay Davis is starting in left field. One
of the hardest throwing left-handers in all of baseball. David Price will take the mound for his 8th start, 5-2 with a 298 earned run average. He lost for the 2nd time this season after allowing 5 earned runs, 11 hits against the Yankees on Thursday. Price has done well against the Blue Jays. You mentioned it in the opening, Buck. 10-2 in his career, a 213 earned run average, and 13 career starts versus Toronto.
Yankees hit Price hard last time out. As you mentioned, 11 hits. 2 of those hits were home runs, and they were left-handed hitters. Curtis Granderson and Robinson Cano both took Price deep. Kelly Johnson will start things off for the Blue Jays. Johnson, a 194 hitter against lefty pitching. First pitch strike from Price.
That is an oddity with the left-handers. But you look at the numbers that Price has put up against left-handed batters this year. They're hitting .306 against them with those couple home runs.
Interesting to watch how Price attacks the Blue Jays. Last time out against the Yankees, he threw a lot of off-speed pitches. He was throwing 97 early in the game, but there in the middle innings, he used his breaking ball more, and he used an awful lot of changeups.
Do you think that's a Yankee thing, or David Price trying to change his style a little bit?
I think it was tailor-made to attack the Yankees lineup. I think that's what he was trying to do, and obviously it didn't work so well. He went 7 innings, but still they hit him hard.
Everybody knows that David Price likes to use his fastball, and he'll move it around the strike zone.
Kelly Johnson behind the ball in 2 strikes. Kelly's reached base safely in 9 straight. And those are the numbers we were talking about. Lefties, he's at 194 compared to 283 against the right-handers. David Price has never lost in this ballpark in 5 career starts. He's 4-0. Had a no decision in his first start here at Rogers Center.
That was back in 2009. He gave up 6 runs in that game and got a no decision.
Tampa Bay would go on to win that game in the 12th inning. They won 10-9.
And since then, his ERA is under 2 in 4 starts in this building.
He's been given a lot of run support against the Blue Jays in this ballpark. They've averaged over 7 runs a ball game. Kelly Johnson hanging tough against David Price. Full count. Hit hard up the middle into right field. Kelly Johnson has a leadoff single. Edwin Encarnacion made a terrific catch on a foul pop-up off the bat of B.J. Upton. And look at, there's 2 empty seats right there, and he was able to lean in and catch it up against the back of that seat. And thank goodness the guys stopped for a cold one on the way down to their seats. They might have spilled their beer, and Edwin might not have been able to make the catch.
Yeah, B.J. Upton might still be hitting, but Torey Lovullo did a good thing. He went over and brought 2 baseballs to those fans right there. They were robbed of a hit by that play by Encarnacion.
Base runners are a perfect 4 for 4 against Price when he's on the mound. A little bit deliberate in his release time.
And Jose Molina has only caught 2 would-be base stealers all season long.
Escobar looks at the one outside. So Molina will go to the mound for a quick chat with David Price. Price is just 26 years old. This is his 8th start of the season. He's trying to win his 6th game tonight. His teammate James Shields has 6 wins, as does the Cardinals' Lance Lynn. Kyle Loesch was going for his 6th win this afternoon. The Cardinals won, but Loesch took a no decision in that ball game.
Got rocked early, gave up 3 runs in the 1st inning to the Cubs.
2-0.
This is the time to get a number 1 right here when he hasn't found his groove yet. 1st inning troubles right now, base hit. That was a good at bat by Kelly Johnson to lead off this ball game. Now he falls behind Escobar. You got to make him pay now.
Right on the outside corner. Price is truly one of those guys that once he zeroes in on that strike zone, he can attack it with multiple pitches.
Yeah, and he doesn't miss. 6'6", just right now trying to find that release point and find the lower part of the strike zone. So you have to take advantage of it.
Took a little something off that. It was just 88 miles an hour, and Escobar swung right through it. A little breezy tonight here with the roof open. Banners in center field being blown around. You can see it looked like Price had something blow in his eye. This becomes a very good hitter's ballpark with this roof open. A shot into right field. Zobrist will play it on a hop. Kelly Johnson will be forced at second. Not much Johnson can do about that. Zobrist looked like he had a chance to catch it on the line.
2 fine plays by the Tampa Bay Rays. First by Ben Zobrist to charge hard and then to snatch the ball right here. Short hop and he smothers it. And then on the other end, watch the short in between hop to the shortstop Elliott Johnson. Kelly Johnson, the base runner, it's hard play. It's a hard play when you're on the base like that, and there's that line drive in between. Is he going to catch it? Is he going to miss it? Is it going to fall in there? Nothing he could do, but a fine play by Zobrist and Johnson to make the out.
So there's 1 out for Jose Bautista. Bautista looks at 1 down and away. Bautista has hit Price hard in the past. Here's a 2-homer game right here against David Price at Rogers Center. For his career, he's 10 for 28 with 4 homers.
You know, it's a good matchup, I think, for Jose. It's a good matchup for him to get the bat hit going a little bit. Price will challenge you again with fastballs, and Bautista, he loves hitting the fastball.
2-0. Changeup. There's a little bit of that approach that he used against the Yankees. It wasn't fastball, fastball, fastball. There are the numbers Bautista's put up against Price. Does it really make that much of a difference for your confidence when you've had success in the past?
Yes, it certainly does.
Ball is high into the air in center. B.J. Upton. It's underneath it. You can see he was battling that wind a bit, but there's 2 down.
Let's take a look at the scouting report tonight for left-handed pitcher David Price. Price, again, one of the hardest thrown left-handers in baseball, and he'll use the fastball about 60% of the time. He's got a little bit of a changeup and a slider. Miles per hour wise, he and Matt Moore tied at 94 miles an hour for the best on the team. The only lefty that throws harder this year in the American League is Danny Duffy from the Kansas City Royals.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Danny Duffy is headed for Tommy John surgery. Royals got that bad news yesterday. 0-1 to Edwin Encarnacion. 2 down. Big swing and a miss. Price is really developing a knack for adding and subtracting on his fastball. Everything isn't 100%, and he's creating a little sinking action on it.
I think he's learning that you don't have to max effort on every single pitch.
Tampa Bay did a good job identifying David Price. They had the #1 pick in 2007, and he was the first player chosen. He was taken right ahead of Mike Moustakas, the Royals' third baseman.
Can't go wrong with either one of those two. Although, would you take a pitcher or an everyday player?
I was going to ask you first.
Well, remember we asked Pat Gillick that same question?
That was really interesting. His response was he'd take the position player every time. Really interesting. I guess you get a guy that plays 155 games a year. If he's an impact player, going to have more value. Strike 3 call. Bill Miller rings up Edwin Encarnacion, and Edwin thought it was inside. Looks like they're still talking about that last pitch, but Encarnacion will walk away from home plate. Price comes inside with the fastball. Encarnacion thought it was up, maybe inside. His pitching so far, he has the worst strikeout rate in the American League, 2.6. And when you look at his numbers, Eric Lowe, Kevin Correa, Carl Pavano, all sinker ball pitchers. The guys that pitch down in the zone, they just don't strike out many guys. And it seems to be a real point of contention among a lot of people that follow the Blue Jays. Luke Scott hits it into right field. There's Brett Laurie throwing a strike. Brett Laurie deep in right field and make an accurate throw. And just on the money from right field.
Getting his sprints in also. Going on that shift. Talk about that point about Henderson Alvarez 2.6 strikeout ratio. Strikeouts are overrated, I think, for certain guys. And with Henderson Alvarez, he's just 22 years old. He's learning how to pitch. And that's his style. And there's guys who have played in the big leagues for a long time, and they've had a lot of success, who are the same type of style pitchers as Alvarez.
There's another ground ball. Easy hop for Escobar. Sean Rodriguez is thrown out. 2 outs. Who are some of the guys you think of when you watch Henderson Alvarez pitch?
Boy, there's a whole boatload of them from way back and from our time and some contemporaries. But you think of Scott Erickson. He's the first guy that comes to mind. He used to pitch with the Minnesota Twins. He was a big-time winner for the Twins. Fausto Carmona is another one before he changed his name or had his name changed. Cleveland. Trevor Cahill also comes to mind, a sinker ball pitcher, doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. Did he win 20 games?
With the A's? Yep. Good pitcher. You know what I really get tired of? People pointing out what a player can't do as opposed to what he's doing.
Is the whole idea of a starter to go deep into the ball game and to win the game? Yes. And that's what Henderson Alvarez has been doing really a whole season. They weren't getting him many runs early on, and he was getting a lot of no decisions. Getting some runs now, and he's pitching a little bit better. He's won 3 in a row. And if it's working, why change?
No, not at all. And this is his style, as you mentioned. Another ground ball. Encarnacion bobbles it. Alvarez is there waiting for the toss and makes the play. Edwin Encarnacion has not committed an error at first base. Henderson Alvarez needed just 7 pitches to get through the second. 3 ground ball outs, and Alvarez is right there on time at first. From Ottawa, Ontario, for being selected tonight's Blackberry Tweeting Tuesday Fan of the Game. Marilyn's always been a Blue Jays fan and has her 5 grandchildren decked out in the latest Blue Jays gear. If you'd like to be selected as the Blackberry Tweeting Tuesday Fan of the Game, send us a picture and tell us why you should be selected. For more information, log on to bluejays.com/fan of the game. And it is Tweeting Tuesday here tonight. Everybody's got their Blackberries out. Bottom of the second inning, David Price and Henderson Alvarez. Could be a heck of a pitcher's duel tonight. Ben Francisco getting a start in the DH spot.
John Farrell was talking earlier today about trying to kickstart his offense and trying to find the combination that he needs to get the offense going. He's got Ben Francisco, a veteran hitter, now hitting 5th. He has loaded his lineup with some right-handers against Price. Anything to get the offense going.
Yeah, and it sounded like when he was speaking during his pregame media scrum that he was going to make some changes. Bouncing ball. Elliott Johnson takes the short hop. Goes to Pena at first for the out. We mentioned David Price and his outstanding record against the Blue Jays. 10-2 for his career. He's just 10 games over against the rest of Major League Baseball, 36-26. A much better ERA against the Jays than the rest of those ball clubs, and his whip also better. He likes pitching against this ball club and loves pitching in this ballpark.
You know what's amazing about those stats is you play the Rays so many times and you face David Price so many times, you would think that people would start understanding him and figuring out what he's trying to do to him. But he has been so good. They just haven't had a chance. He has just snuffed them out.
Brett Lawrie takes a fastball at the knees. Ball on the strike. David Price probably wonders if he's playing the Blue Jays tonight because Brandon Morrow's not on the mound against him. Morrow started the last 3 games that Price has pitched against the Blue Jays. Brandon Morrow threw the ball well last night and certainly deserved a better fate. 5 innings of 4-hit ball. All 4 hits came against him in the 5th inning. Brett Lawrie serves one into right. That'll get down for a base hit. Lawrie was thinking about second.
Save during the homeowner sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Beautiful evening here in Toronto. The roof is wide open. The CN Tower beautiful against the blue sky. Brett Lawrie with a 1-out single to right. Colby Erasmus continues to work every day. He's done a good job in center field, and he's had some streaks where you see that stroke coming around, and lately he's been hitting the ball hard, but hasn't had much to show for it.
Yeah, too many atom balls for Colby Rasmus. Hitting balls right at him and hitting it hard, but eventually they'll fall in. They all even out. It's a good combination right here if Brett Lawrie can get a jump and read the move of David Price to try and steal. He is taking a very aggressive lead at first base.
Took a step back toward first on the first move of Price. Lawrie doesn't have that move down just yet. The numbers we're talking about with Rasmus, he's actually even hit the ball harder than 5 hits worth. He's 5 for 16, a couple of doubles. It's actually maybe a better idea if Lawrie stays at first to keep Pena on that bag, because Rasmus has been hooking the ball at the first baseman.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially off of hard throwers. He has gotten that back going a little bit early and hooked it.
Lawrie got a good jump. Molina's throw is a quick one in the dirt. And off of Lawrie, bounces up, and he'll go to third base. Molina's throw was short of the mark and on the first base side.
You know, he said he's only had 2 caught stealings, which is worst among AL catchers with at least 18 starts. He's only thrown out 2 base stealers. And Tampa Bay catchers have now 6 errors, which is the most in the American League, as that ball trickles off the glove and into short center field. And now a golden opportunity. You see that ball trails and it's short, ricochets out into the outfield.
The infield is in with 1 out. Rasmus bounces it up the middle. Grimes behind the mound. That might have been a good ball to go on right there. A bouncing ball off the plate, and Grimes was moving to his right.
Those are plays that are so hard for a young player where the infield is in. And they tell you make the ball go through, but there are certain balls that you can read. If you read it right away, there's no way they're going to throw Brett Laurie out at home plate.
Yeah, and you can see he wasn't thinking about contact at all because he froze as soon as the ball was on the ground. So now there are 2 outs. Jeff Mathis getting the start behind the plate. Mathis homered against Price back in April. It was a lopsided win for Tampa Bay. It was 12-2. But Mathis really hammered a ball into the second deck in left center.
He can handle the fastball. He is now hitting from an open stance, and that has really freed up his upper body. His bat is a lot quicker.
Price drops it on the outside corner. Tried for that inside corner again. That's how he struck out Encarnacion back in the first. So it's a 2-2 count. Brett Laurie singled, stole second, and went to third on the air by Molina. Popped into right. Zobrist came in initially, but he's got room and makes the catch. Blue Jays get a hit and leave a base runner. We're still scoreless here at Rogers Center. Enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TV comfort zone are some lucky fans who received a seat upgrade courtesy of TD. You can't get an upgrade unless you come to the ballpark, and those lucky fans were upgraded right down to the front row tonight. Former Blue Jay Jose Molina will lead things off. Molina was signed in the offseason to be their everyday catcher, and I think now they recognize they're going to have to split time with Molina and Chris Jimenez.
The plan was Jose Lobaton was supposed to share the duties with Jose Molina. He is on the disabled list, and now Jimenez and Molina will split it up.
2 balls and a strike. Henderson Alvarez trying to win his 4th straight game. Another bouncing ball. Kelly Johnson has plenty of time, and that's now 5 straight ground ball outs recorded by Alvarez.
This has been a very typical Henderson Alvarez first couple of innings. A lot of ground ball outs, a lot of strikes, keep the pitch count down. keep that infield moving.
Elliott Johnson's done a good job. He's been a utility player, moved all over the field for them, but now with the injury to Evan Longoria, Sean Rodriguez has had to move to third, and Elliott Johnson's making his 7th consecutive start. First time in his career he's started that many times in a row, and his batting average is really taken off. Chance to get some regular ABs.
Isn't that amazing how that works? You get some regular time, you get your timing down, you get a chance to see all the pitchers, and you start hitting.
Well, you know you're going to play, so you're not so concerned about getting hits. When you're an extra man, you think, if I get a couple hits today, I might play tomorrow. Now that mindset is totally switched.
Yeah, or you say, okay, I'm getting a chance to play today. I've got to do something.
Yeah.
I only have 4 at bats. I've got to do something. I might not play again for another week. Just that little extra pressure like that really makes it tough to play the game.
Well, and players put it on themselves.
Sure.
And that's the problem. There's another ground ball. Kelly Johnson, he's a busy guy. 2 outs. That's 6 in a row retired on ground balls, and that's what Alvarez does.
We were talking about this in the opening, that only Derek Lowe, James Shields, and Jason Hamill have a higher ground ball percentage than Henderson Alvarez. A lot of fastballs. Your infield keeps engaged. They keep on their toes. And the game just seems to be a little bit more crisp when you have someone like this throwing the baseball.
Let me ask you as a hitter, why is that sinker so hard to hit?
You can't square it up. You can't hit it straight. It's almost like an off-speed pitch, a breaking ball pitch. Watch how the ball goes down.
That ball is lined. Bautista over his head. Zobrist is around first. He's headed for second. Here's the throw to second. Not in time. Ben Zobrist drilled it on the line, and Bautista had it go over his head off the bottom of the wall. Zobrist picks up his 8th double of the season with 2 outs here in the 3rd.
That's a sinker that didn't sink. It was pretty straight. And he'll throw a 4-seam fastball when need be. Jose Bautista almost came up with that line drive right over the outfielder's head. That one didn't sink, but you were talking about trying to square up a sinking fastball. It's almost like a left-hander's throwing that slider into you if you're a right-hander. I mean, that's how much it moves.
B.J. Upton popped out in his first at-bat. Good defensive play by Edwin Encarnacion. There's a line drive base hit. Rajay Davis comes up throwing. Zobrist got a good jump. 2 outs. There's the tag by Mathis. What a play. Rajay Davis made a strong throw, and Jeff Mathis held on. Davis had to go to his right about 3 steps, backhanded it, and then fires a strike. What an effort by Davis. And Mathis on the other end takes the 1-hopper and blocks home plate. Great job. with 2 outs.
Ball hit hard by Upton, and Rajai gets over there, backhands it, comes up throwing. And on the other end, how about Jeff Mathis with the in-between hop? He catches it and then throws his body in front of the plate. That's a tough play. In-between hop. He throws his body in front of the plate, blocks off Zobrist, and records the out at home plate. They were out here early taking throws from the outfielders today about 2:30, and it pays off for Jeff Mathis and the Blue Jays right there.
Isn't it interesting how often that happens? We see it all the time, and outfielders don't throw much anymore. And catchers don't get a chance to make those plays on the one-hop throws from the outfielder, but today they practiced it and it paid off. Rajai Davis saved a run with a great throw to the plate, helped out by Jeff Mathis. Well, you know Davis is just dying to get on base with Price on the mound.
Certainly.
Runs are tough to come by, and if you could get him on in a leadoff situation here in the 3rd, you'd think you had a chance to score a run. There's a few more of those changeups tonight, same way that Price attacked the Yankees last time out.
Pulling the string on Rajai Davis. Behind in the count 1-0. You know, he's sitting on that fastball, and he gave him the changeup.
And then he catches the outside corner. Again, just back and forth with the velocity.
Seemed to be backdooring that cutter slash slider to the right-handers a little bit more than we have seen in the past.
Well, if you can throw the fastball in the inside corner like he just did and missed, then you throw that cutter and fastball away. You're talking about lots of plate coverage. That's a pitch you were talking about right there, and that one looks like it's a mile away from you if you're a right-handed hitter. Hit on the ground. Elliott Johnson in the hole at short. High throw. Davis is off. And now he makes a break for second. There'll be no throw. Davis got out of the batter's box in a hurry and put pressure on Elliott Johnson. Johnson commits his second error at shortstop. And Davis indeed is on base.
In scoring position with nobody out. Puts a little bit more pressure on the shortstop. Not used to playing every day. And even if that throw is on target, Davis hustling out of the box with that world-class speed was going to break it. And now when the ball goes over his head at first base, Pena has no chance to get Davis at second.
Infield hit and an error on the shortstop. Now David Price has got to pay attention to Rajai Davis at second. Tampa Bay has already committed 2 errors tonight. That's 32 for the season.
They are on pace for 135. Almost double the amount that they had last year when they led the major leagues in fielding.
Fewest errors in the majors last year. They committed just 73 errors, and tonight 2 more errors. That bumps them up to 32 for the season. Elliott Johnson keeping an eye on Davis, and now Price will make a throw to second with tag. Well, Price made a good throw, and if you're going to use the pickoff at second, you want to throw it down by the base, right on top of the bag.
Where the runner, the fielder, and the ball all meet at one time. It's the daylight play with the shortstop. Pitcher comes set. He looks back to second base. If he sees daylight between the runner and the fielder, he just spins and throws the ball to the base.
Can a third base coach help a base runner in this situation?
Yeah, he'll go ahead and say, hey, he's right behind you. You can get another step or get back just a little bit more. The third base coach is he's the eyes of that base runner.
Davis took a couple of steps toward third.
The runner watches the pitcher, and the third base coach or even the first base coach become the eyes of that runner, with that fielder ducking in behind him.
That's why Butterfield's got his eyes glued on Elliott Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the time to go right here with a left-handed batter up. Wait one more batter if he doesn't advance him to third base or score him, and then a right-hander. Escobar's up, making it a little bit tougher for that catcher to throw around that right-handed hitter.
Yeah, Price is pretty aware of Rajai Davis. Blue Jays have a base runner in scoring position against David Price. Last night they were 1 for 8 already. Tonight 0 for 2 in these situations. 0 for 3. Good breaking ball gets Kelly Johnson 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. CC Sabathia was Price's mound opponent the last time Price pitched, and Sabathia improved his record to 5-0 with that win against Tampa Bay. Yunel Escobar with 1 out. Here's where Davis will really be trying to work for a good jump. Hit right to the third baseman. Escobar grounds out. Manager John Farrell will join us when we come back after the break. He'll bring us up to speed on what's going on down on the field. Happens every Tuesday, and Farrell's been great with us and giving us good information of what's actually going on with the player down on the field, maybe what the pitcher's doing. So another out with a runner in scoring position. Blue Jays are now 0 for 4 tonight. Jose Bautista flied to center field back in the first. This has been a real problem for the Blue Jays against Tampa Bay since 2008. They've hit just .205 with runners in scoring position against Tampa Bay. As a result, they've lost 50 of the 76 games played.
Good pitching.
Real good pitching.
Good defense. Even when they make a mistake, they've got the defenders behind them to pick them up. You can win a lot of games with pitching and defense.
Tampa Bay went to the World Series on that theme in 2008. In this situation, if Rajai Davis broke for third, I'm not so sure Tampa Bay would cover. I think they might keep their defense in place. The left side is deep.
Give them the base. The guy they want is standing at the plate right here now with 2 outs. Now you start moving around on that left side, a left-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter, a ground ball can find its way through the infield.
There goes Davis. It's a strike, and they didn't cover.
No. Why would you? Why would you give ground?
Keep your defense in place. So Davis gets the stolen base, and the Tampa Bay Rays defense stays put.
No third base cover. He is playing deep with Bautista at the plate. That's Sean Rodriguez at third. You can see how far off the bag he is.
Up to middle, base hit. Rajai Davis will jog home. Bautista delivers a 2-out RBI single. Jays take a 1-0 lead.
That'll break that streak with runners in scoring position. The Tampa Bay Rays, probably more than anybody in the American League, really overplay. But for some reason, they didn't here. When I say overplay, putting 3 infielders on the left side of the infield against Jose Bautista, but they didn't this time. And they made him pay for it. Single right back through the middle.
Yeah, in the previous series, we have seen that second baseman on the third base side of the bag. And he would have been able to make a play right there. They chose not to. 2 outs, a run in. Hammered in, Carlson, high and deep to center. Goodbye, home run.
Edwin was geared for a fastball after the base hit to Jose Bautista, and he was going to be ready for it. Fastball down the middle, and he doesn't miss it. Sends a missile to left center field, and really no doubt about it. Full extension. Home run number 12.
And a lucky fan out there has the souvenir baseball. Encarnacion now with 31 RBIs. That's the 7th home run Price has given up in this ballpark, and this is his 6th start. 3-0 Jays, and it all happened with 2 outs.
Well, he was waiting for that fastball, wasn't he?
He was called out on a fastball his previous at bat. Edwin's made a couple of good plays in the field, and now he has a 2-run home run.
That's a good feeling when you can turn around a fastball like that from an elite pitcher like David Price.
It's his 2nd career home run Inwood has off of Price.
Came into spring training in great shape.
There's that inside corner at 97 miles an hour. That strikes out Francisco, but the Blue Jays rally with 2 outs. Rajay Davis got it started. He comes in and scores the first run, and for good measure, Edwin Encarnacion, number 12, a 2-run shot. You can follow the Blue Jays. It's Twitter Tuesday, so it's time to remind you that you can follow your Blue Jays on Twitter. Brett Glory, Joey Bats, Ricky Rowe. They're all there. Go on to twitter.com and check them out. Blue Jays handles are right there, and you can log on and catch up with the Jays and see what's up with the players. 3-0. Bounced to first. Edwin Encarnacion will go to the bag, and Matt Joyce is retired. Well, I tell you what, you play on the infield behind Henderson Alvarez, you better anticipate the ball coming to you.
Be ready. It will find you.
7 ground ball outs already. Carlos Pena had one of those ground ball outs. He grounded to second back in the first. There's a strike. Henderson Alvarez has thrown 10 of 13 first pitch strikes. Another thing he's done all year long is retire the first batters of innings. And that really gets you in a good spot.
Keeps you in the windup. Get that first out. It makes things a little bit easier, especially when they hit the first pitch.
Coming into this game, hitters were batting 188 against Alvarez, leading off the inning. First time that Pena saw this shift back in April, he bunted twice. And now with 2 strikes, that's not a very good option for Carlos Pena.
He's tried to bunt against the shift 3 times this year. Twice with 2 strikes. One of them against Luis Perez, if you remember right here, and he was called out on strikes after he fouled it off. One time he did it against Felix Hernandez and got a base hit. Hernandez from the Seattle Mariners. Here we go.
He tried it again.
3 times this year he has tried it with 2 strikes. So that's why, you know, Escobar, the shortstop, is going to stay even with the baseline.
Henderson Alvarez can really get off the mound. He'll help out on that left side of the mound. Fouled out of play. I think Pena just recognizes when there might be a good opportunity. He senses he might get a fastball. He squares around and just tries to bunt it down the line. But it doesn't have to be a great bunt in this situation.
Just get it by the pitcher.
Got to keep it fair now with 2 strikes.
With 2 strikes. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it by the pitcher and you can just jog to first base.
Another pop up. This one will get back out of play. We mentioned Henderson Alvarez was on a 3-game win streak. He beat Seattle here at Rogers Center and then beat the Angels in Anaheim and the Twins in Minnesota. During that 3-game stretch, he's averaged 13.1 pitches per inning. A good major league average is 15. You get 15, 15 and a half, you're going to pitch late into the game. Cut on and missed, and there's a strikeout. Now everybody will be happy.
Well, you still like all those strikeouts? Because you were just talking about 13 pitches per inning. Well, you strike a guy out, you get a couple of foul balls, and it really runs that pitch count up. Throw a couple of good sinkers and get a ground ball out, you're in and out in 7 or 8 pitches.
He threw 7 pitches in the 2nd inning and got 3 outs. So now Luke Scott. Scott has hit .286 against righty pitching this season. Takes the first pitch strike. Luke had a big 2-run single in that 6-run 5th inning in last night's game. He leads the team in RBIs. Has 26. Hits this ball out into right field. Brett Lawrie is there and throws wide of the mark. Lawrie had a little bit more time than he thought. If he takes and plants his right foot and gets a little better throw off, I think he's got a shot at Scott.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He caught the ball, planted with his right foot, and then threw off his back foot in one motion. Catches the ball there. See how he throws in one motion. If he catches the ball, crow hops, gets his feet underneath him, that ball doesn't sail on him, and he'll record the out at first base.
And because of that, he has been charged with an error. Luke Scott was hustling down the line. He knew it was going to be a tough play because Lawrie had to go to his right. So Scott's aboard on the error by Brett Lawrie. Another bouncing ball. Escobar has to wait on it. Rodriguez can run, but he's still got time. The Rays strand the base runner, but the Blue Jays will go to the bottom of the 4th with a 3-run lead. Brett Lawrie has a single. Kobe Erasmus and Jeff Mathis. you by Transitions Adaptive Lenses. And tonight we're going to take a closer look at David Price, former #1 pick overall of the 2007 draft, age 26 now. Went to school at Vanderbilt where he majored in sociology as his Twitter handle. And David Price had a win and a save in the postseason before he had a win or a save in the regular season. He came up his first season in 2008 and pitched in the postseason. They used him as a closer, and he picked up a save, and he also won a game in the postseason. And then he became a regular. Majored in sociology at Vanderbilt. His favorite player of all time, David Justice. It's about the time frame. Brett Lawrie goes after the changeup, down and away. Yeah, David Price is quite an interesting guy. We mentioned he's 26 years old, and he was truly one of the real leaders of this ball club. Very animated, always engaged when he's not pitching. That caught him flush on the knee. Boy, you could hear that. It sounded as if it hit a bat. There's a lot of bones in the knee area there. Not a lot of muscle to absorb that hit. I have seen guys hit on the knee like that and fracture bones. There, 0-2, he's trying to come inside. He reaches back for a little extra, and you're right, the sound alone sounded like it hit wood. Watch where it hits him. All right, you just hope it didn't hit him on the knee cap. It squarely got him on the side of the knee, and that was flush. Actually, when you saw that from the side, it looked like it might have hit a little bit below the joint. Yeah, upper calf, it looked like from that side, that last shot that we saw. Tell you one thing, Brett Lawrie's not going to rub it. He's probably going to take off here also. Pitch out. They thought he was going to run. Now, Lawrie's been on base twice. He's had a single, and now he's been hit by a pitch. Blue Jays lead the Rays and David Price 3-0. Popped up behind home plate. Molina had some trouble finding it, but it's behind the screen. Torrelavella, as he does with all his base runners, helping Brett Lawrie look across the field at Brian Butterfield just in case there's something going on. He'll help him with signs. He'll also say, okay, if he does this, he's going home. Got a good jump. Ball is bounced off the glove of Price, and he will go to the bag and retire Rasmus.
Save during the homeowner sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Brett Lawrie gets to second base. He's in scoring position now. Will Rhymes, the second baseman, really shortened up, getting close to the bag to make sure he doesn't allow Lawrie a big jump. Jeff Mathis flied to right his first time, and Price is going to chase Lawrie back to second. A little bit a different dynamic that we saw last inning with Rajay Davis at second and Jose Bautista at the plate. Infielders were playing a lot deeper. They were conceding third base. Now a little bit different. You see Will Rhymes right behind the bag there, just to try and keep him close so he doesn't try and steal. Mathis pops it up. Carlos Pena in foul ground makes the catch. Mathis is retired. There are 2 outs. So Rajay Davis, he is a spark plug when he gets things going, as he did back in the third inning. He had an infield hit, went to second on the throwing error by the shortstop, and then scored on the base hit by Bautista. He had a steal of third. They didn't attempt to make a throw on him, and he trotted home on Bautista's single to center.
And he threw a runner out at the plate.
Another pitch inside. We mentioned Davis making just his 8th start in left field. He's come on defensively to take over for Eric Thames. Davis has actually appeared in 19 games. This is 20th. Now he's come on in 12 different situations as a defensive replacement.
And every time he plays, it seems like he does something. To come in and pinch run late in a ball game, he'll pick up a stolen base for you. You mentioned him coming in late in games to play left field, pinch hit. You have to have that type of dynamic player on your bench.
1-2. Bounce toward third. Sean Rodriguez on the run. Dug out by Pena. Davis is retired. Blue Jays leave a runner, but after 4, they have a 3-0 lead. John Farrell. And John, your defense has committed a lot of errors, but they have made many good plays. And tonight in the 3rd inning, Rajai Davis and Jeff Mathis combined to save a run and really kind of spark your ball club.
Yeah, it really did, Buck. You know, on the base hit by Upton right there, Rajai comes up, fields the ball clean, and throws a strike to Jeff, who just did an outstanding job of blocking the plate and hold on to the ball in that situation.
Offensively, 3 and 4 have come through tonight. How important is it for you?
Well, I tell you, anytime we prepare against an opposition, if you can contain the 3 and 4 hole hitters, you're probably in good shape. And the fact that we've got Jose with a base hit RBI here tonight, and then a 2-run homer by Edwin, who's just done an outstanding job for us all year, it's good to see that kind of production in the middle.
John, thanks for your time.
Okay, guys.
The Jays are off to a good start. They lead Tampa Bay 3-0. Henderson Alvarez. First pitch to Will Rhymes is a strike. There's a little looper. This is going to be a fair ball down the right field line. Bautista quickly over, and he'll keep Rhymes at first base with a strong throw to second.
Hole wasn't hit very hard by Will Rhymes, the right fielder, and that's why Bautista was able to get over there and cut it off. Down by 3 runs, you don't want to run into an out. Rhymes with the batter last night that got things started for Tampa in the 5th inning, with a 2-strike double down the left field line. And the ball wasn't hit very hard. He's thinking about 2 and then said, okay, I'm down by 3.
Jose Molina takes one down and away. Rhymes is the first leadoff man to reach tonight for Tampa Bay. But Molina is a good candidate for a double play.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it with a ground ball pitcher and a guy who doesn't run real well.
That's a good idea. Alvarez making sure that he keeps a close eye on Rhymes. These guys will run any time. I don't care if they're down by 3. And with Molina at the plate, it would make a lot of sense to start the runner at first.
And stay out of the double play, just like the Blue Jays do. Stay out of the double play. He's a candidate to roll one over.
Almost all major league clubs control a running game from the bench. The bench coach, we have seen Socia, the manager of the Angels, he does it himself. But a lot of teams will utilize scouting reports to figure out when they're going to run. And there he goes. And the ball indeed is hit on the ground. Kelly Johnson has to go to first. But Joe Madden, sensing there might be a ground ball, starts Rhymes and he stays out of the double play. Laurie got hit by David Price on the side of the leg, and he's showing George Poulos, the trainer, where he got hit. And you can bet he's not going to make a big deal out of it to let anybody in that other dugout know that it might be barking at him right now.
That's the whole idea. Why you don't rub it. You just go down to first base, take the base, and worry about it after the ball game.
One out, Elliott Johnson. Cuts on the first pitch. He must have had a teammate or two that used to get hit by a pitch and reach down and grab a handful of dirt and rub it right where it hit.
Certainly. Rub a little dirt on it. Maybe spit in your hands first and then put the dirt in there.
Just to show the pitcher it didn't hurt. Ball on the strike.
Some guys get hit like in the shoulder and just kind of act like they're brushing off a flea. That really upsets the starter.
And then once the game is over, go down and put a big bag of ice on it. On the ground, Alvarez will be waved off by Encarnacion. Rhymes moves to third on the ground out. Boy, he is tough to get airborne.
It sounded like he got a broken bat that time on that bouncer to the first baseman. Tough to square it up. And that's an interesting thing when a pitcher has that ability to turn the ball over. Look how that ball just dives. The flip side of that is they don't really have the knack of spinning the ball and making it go the other way. So why change? I think eventually he'll learn a decent breaking ball to complement that good sinker. But right now, that's what he is the best at doing.
There's a breaking ball. He gets ahead of Benny Zobris.
I went back and looked up Greg Maddox's first year in the big leagues. You know how many strikeouts he had? 101 for a full season, and he ended up with 3,000.
Yeah, it's all about getting your feet on the ground, and then you make adjustments. As you become more polished at your trade, then you can start to add and subtract, bring in new pitches, and give the hitters a different look. Right now, Henderson Alvarez is just fine, thank you. 0-2, 2 outs. Way outside. Blue Jays lost last night 7-1. The bullpen did a tremendous job. Jeff Neiman was knocked out of the game. Actually came back to try to pitch to second, and today he was placed on the disabled list with a fractured leg.
They've had a lot of injuries. Tampa Bay already. Desmond Jennings on the DL, Evan Longoria.
They have 8 players on the disabled list now, and Jeff Neiman is the latest they've added to that list. Two balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball into center. Rasmus a long run. Can't get there. It's off his glove, and Zobris is headed for second. Rhymes comes in to score, and Ben Zobris has his second hit of the night, an RBI single, a little flare to center.
Yeah, those 2-strike change-ups where the batter takes a full swing, hits it off the end of the bat, can really fool an outfielder. You see Colby Rasmus take one step back right at the beginning, thinking that this ball's hit harder. And then because of that, just can't catch up. That ball goes off his glove for a double for Zobrist.
2 doubles on the night for Zobrist. He now has 9, and it's a 3-1 Blue Jays lead. B.J. Upton hit the ball hard his last time up. Line drive base hit to left field. Ben Zobrist was thrown out at the plate on a terrific throw by Davis and a great tag by Mathis. Ball on the strike. Top of the 5th inning. Upton fouls it up the third baseline. 2-2. Henderson Alvarez is making his 3rd career start against Tampa Bay. He's 0-2 in his previous 2 games, and he was hit hard. He's given up 5 home runs to Tampa Bay. That's a third of the home runs he's allowed in his young big league career.
Hard to believe with the way that his ball moves down in a strike zone. But when he keeps it down, it just appears to move a little bit more.
Full count. The dangerous Matt Joyce is on deck.
You know, ever since he has gotten to 2 outs in this inning, got Molina and Johnson, it seems like he's trying to reach back for a little something extra, and he's coming out of his delivery.
Off the end of the bat, that's a fair ball. Encarnacion steps on the ball, and the inning is over. But the Rays score a run. It's a 3-1 ball game. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry broadcast studio here at Rogers Center. Question of the game, Jeremy Burley asked, what do you think has been the most impressive thing about the Jays so far this season?
A couple of things come to mind when I think about that. I think the young starters have been very impressive. Romero, Morrow, Hutchison, Drabek, and Alvarez. They've given them innings, they've given them length, and they've made it a little bit easier on the bullpen. And then all the great defensive plays that we have seen so far in the first four weeks of the season.
Yeah, Henderson Alvarez himself, I think, has really been a pleasant surprise. He made 10 starts last season to finish up the year. He had 1 win. Came against the Orioles. But this year, he's got a regular turn in 5-man rotation. He's responded very well. Kelly Johnson is 1 for 2. Single and a strikeout. Right to Pena.
You know, the one thing you worry about when you get out to a lead against David Price, he starts to find his groove and then shuts you down the rest of the way. You've got to get some add-on runs. You've got to make it count. It's only going to put pressure on Henderson Alvarez as this game goes forward.
Well, this Tampa Bay team, and John Farrell has seen it many times, they come back and win games late. They'll kind of lull you to sleep in the middle innings, and before you know it, look up, they get a couple of guys on, somebody runs into one, and all of a sudden you're behind. Joe Madden's team never gives up.
That starter just keeps doing that thing, piling up innings, getting outs.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Lots of fans down at the official team shop picking up their Blue Jay gear. 2 outs. Jose Bautista jumps back from an inside pitch.
You can see now that nobody's on. They've learned their lesson. Bautista was at the plate when he bounced a base hit up the middle. And the second baseman, Will Rhymes, is now on the shortstop side of second base, right where the ball went through last time.
You can see center and left. That's where he gets most of his hits. In my mind, it's an accident when he hits it to right.
Yeah. There's the 3 infielders on the left side.
Yeah. The first, or the RBI that Bautista had, went right to Will Rhymes, right where he's standing right now.
And he was on the first base side of second base back in the 3rd inning. And I was surprised at the time that they didn't play this. The 3 guys on the left side of the infield with Bautista at the plate and a runner at third.
A 3-2 changeup, and Bautista's out in front. David Price retires the Blue Jays in order in the 5th. The off-speed pitch has been effective for Price. Memorial Cup from Shawinigan, Quebec. Catch all the action on Sportsnet. Junior hockey at its best. It'll be Edmonton and the host Shawinigan team opening up on Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 4 p.m. Pacific Time. The Great Memorial Cup. Matt Joyce makes a first pitch strike. Look at that. CN Tower. They're walking around the edge of the tower on a windy night. That could be you, Pat Tumber.
Yeah, we're there.
We're there.
You and me, we're all over that.
I think it'll be great.
I'm going to ask for double ropes. You know?
Oh, I got weak knees thinking about it. Ball and a strike. Down and in. It's got to be a tremendous view. I mean, we've both been up there inside. But to walk around the edge of CN Tower.
Was that from the pod? Have you been up to the pod part of it?
No, I don't think so. I think
That
it's from
looks like the main one.
The main valley up top. There's a base hit. That's by Escobar. Goes into center field. Rajay Davis comes over, tries to cut it off. Rasmus is right there to back him up. Back-to-back leadoff hitters have gotten on board, and there's a look at that. And they have been tethered to the rail, and they're walking around the edge, and the wind is blowing, and that's got to be a throw. We got to do that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. I'm sure we could do it for a great cause, like the Jays care, something like that. But that is way up there.
Not a windy day. Okay? Not a windy day.
What difference does it make? It's still going to feel the same.
Got a great seat in the house to watch this ball game.
What a great landmark. Leadoff man's on. Last inning, the leadoff guy got on and came around to score. Well, Rhymes singled and came all the way around, scored on Ben Zobrist RBI double. Bounced. Laurie goes to second for one. Back to first. Double play. Boy, their defense is something else. They put that shift on, and when a guy hits it hard, the Blue Jays are standing right there.
There's a reason they look over miles of tape, information, and for this, to have the guy standing right where the batter's going to hit it. This is a base hit if you're playing conventional defense, but it turns into a 5-4-3 double play, and Henderson Alvarez is loving that.
That erases that leadoff single. Brett Glory, Kelly Johnson teaming up, and now Brett Glory goes out there to help out Jose Bautista in right. Luke Scott hit a ball to Laurie his last time up in the fourth inning, and Brett went to his right, threw off balance, and Scott reached on Laurie's throwing error. He had a little more time than he thought. This time Scott goes the other way, but Rajay Davis is there. Oh, what a quick inning for Henderson Alvarez. The double play helps out. Just 8 pitches, and Alvarez is through the 6th. playing in the morning, 8:20 a.m. Eastern on the Fan 590 or fan590.com. They get the best guests in the morning on Brady and Lang, 8:20 a.m. I know, because I had to wake up this morning and get on the radio at 8:20 a.m. A great opportunity to hear what Ricky Romero has to say tomorrow morning on the Fan 590. Edwin Encarnacion, a 2-run homer his last time up.
That was off of a fastball, so David Price starts him off with a slider.
Reaches for this one. It's down the right field line, and it's foul. Ben Zobrist was over in the gap in right center. He had a long run, but it's a few feet foul. Edwin now has 31 RBIs. When you look at the league leader, of course, there's one guy up there that's in another league. Josh Hamilton has 44. Encarnacion is second with 31. Edwin is a very strong pull hitter. 11 of his 12 home runs have gone to center and left.
But he's muscled the one to right field. And that's a blast to be able to hit the ball into the bullpen here at Rogers Center the opposite way. He had a couple of balls on the road trip that I thought he got enough that he had hit. If he had hit that same ball in this ballpark, it would have been the second deck. But it died in the air in California.
Goes after that outside pitch, and he strikes out. That starts the 6th.
We'll stay away from him after the home run. He stays away. Backdoors a slider. Or a cutter right on the outside part of the plate. Encarnacion gets out there. Looked like he was going to try and pull that pitch. But could not come up with it.
5th strikeout for Price. And Francisco has one of those 5 strikeouts. He's 0 for 2 so far. Giving an update on the RBI leaderboard. Josh Hamilton at the start of play had 44 RBIs. Edwin Encarnacion drove in 2. He's got 31. Miguel Cabrera also has 31. He had a pair of RBIs this afternoon. Francisco's retired, 2 outs. Brett Laurie has reached base twice against David Price. He singled and was hit by a pitch.
Last time the Blue Jays had a base runner was when Laurie got hit by that pitch.
Outside corner with a good fastball. Price has retired 8 in a row. When you're facing a left-hander that throws so hard, that fastball you're aware of because he's good on the inside corner, but that one that's away must look like it's 3 feet away.
And you say, okay, how am I going to hit it? Do I need to go out and get a rowboat oar to try and reach it? He reminds me a lot of Randy Johnson.
Really?
Randy Johnson, tall, lanky, ability to throw fastballs in and out, overpower you.
Sean Rodriguez makes a nice play to help out David Price. Price has retired 9 straight. It's a 2-run lead for the Jays. Since the 8th of May, they lead the majors in walks, 45 walks, and that is just something, 16 more than the Indians. And John Farrell and his coaching staff preach pitch to contact, and boy, lately it's been hard to do for the pitchers.
Pitch to contact because you've got that type of makeup with your staff. Throws a lot of ground ball outs, and when you do that, you're going to have quick innings. But when you start walking at 45 in 7 games, it's not very good. But tonight, you see the effect when you start throwing strikes like Henderson Alvarez has.
Blue Jays have walked 141 batters this year. That's the most in the American League. And recently it's been an epidemic. That ball is hammered to center field. Rasmus looking up. This ball is gone. Sean Rodriguez hits his 3rd home run of the season. And Henderson Alvarez continues to give up home runs to Tampa Bay. That's the 6th home run he's allowed to the Rays in this, just his 3rd game.
He's learning that you make one mistake and it'll cost you. This ball's elevated in the middle of the plate. He wanted the back door. It looked like a 2-seam fastball, but elevated and ended up in the middle. Sean Rodriguez drops the head of the bat on that one. Hit a big double in last night's game. It's about the same spot in right center.
Comes right back with the first pitch strike to Will Rhymes. Alvarez has now given up 4 earned runs his last 4 starts. 3 of them have been home runs, and there's a base hit to left field. Rhymes is 2 for 3.
The magic works. They pick up Rhymes. He comes to spring training. He doesn't make the team out of spring training. There's an injury, and he comes out there and he just starts to hit.
Rhymes average at 279. Last time they were in a similar situation, they started the runner with Molina at the plate, and he hit a ground ball. For the Blue Jays, suspect the same here. Molina's grounded out twice to second base, and unless you start to run it, that's pretty much a guaranteed double play.
And you've got to do it early in the count. You can't wait for a favorable count if you're going to send that runner.
Not going. That's a tough one to put in play. A couple of managers that are playing a pretty interesting game of chess right now. It's a 3-2 ball game. We're in the 7th. Little ground ball bounced, and Escobar bobbled the ball, then knew he had time to get Molina and chose not to throw it. Well, that looked like it was going to be a tailor-made double play ball. Molina got sawed off with the inside pitch. There's a little hump back one hopper to the shortstop, and they can't come up with an out.
Got a little bit ahead of himself right here. He's going to try and catch it, and very quickly he knew that he had a shot at second, then dropped it, and then still couldn't get the runner over at first base. 3rd error of the night by the Blue Jays, and this is something that was talked about at the beginning of the game.
For Escobar, that's his 6th error of the season.
They've made some great plays in the field, but then the routine play at times, they just haven't been able to come up with the ball.
Now, Henderson Alvarez made an error on a play he never should have thrown. On a bunt back in the 1st inning, he had no chance to throw out Matt Joyce at first. Brett Lawrie was charged with an error when he was playing in right field and just threw flat-footed to first and a long throw. Elliott Johnson's a great bunter, not showing bunt, takes a strike.
When you've got the type of pitcher that Henderson Alvarez is, you've got to make the plays behind him. He's going to put the ball in play. You just have to do it. That was tailor-made right there.
The Blue Jays only use one bunt play. They're going to keep Lawrie back at 3rd. Alvarez has the 3rd base line, and Encarnacion will charge if they think it's going to be a bunt. not showing bunt. Foul down the first base line.
That was a play that the Blue Jays messed up a couple of times on the road trip, where Brett Lawrie wasn't real sure if the ball, when it was bunted to the third base side of the pitcher's mound, if the pitcher was going to go over there and get it, he was going to be able to field it. Henderson Alvarez, excellent athlete, and he covers a lot of ground.
Right here, the Blue Jays don't think they're going to bunt him. Obviously, with 2 strikes, it's not a very good option. There's nothing about the Tampa Bay offense that strikes fear in your heart, other than they just stay on your chest. There are 9 guys that have the team concept ingrained into their head. Whatever it takes to win a ball game. Ben Zobrist, the leadoff batter, has 2 doubles tonight. He's on deck. There's a base hit to left field. Rajai Davis bobbles it, and Rhymes will score, and that should be the 4th Blue Jay error of the night. Rhymes was being stopped at third base by Tom Foley, the third base coach. And Rajai Davis bobbled the ball, and when Foley saw that, he waved the runner home.
Ball hit hard by Elliott Johnson with 2 strikes, just goes the other way. You see Rajai Davis go down to one knee to try and block that ball. And it took a wicked hop right there, came up on him, and he hits off of his glove just far enough away for that runner to score.
Blue Jays defense has committed 15 errors in the last 10 games. And John Farrell, the manager, was asked about that, and he said there are no explanations. He even reiterated today, he said, I think we've got a pretty good defense, but I can't explain the errors. Ben Zobrist, nobody out, not showing bunt.
I think you have to swing away here. You got a slow runner at third base, and you're just giving them an out. Even if you do drop down a good bunt. You tied it up, and now you're trying to play for the big inning.
Two balls and no strikes. Veteran Darren Oliver begins to loosen up. It's a 3-3 game. We are in the 7th. There's a strike.
That's the thing about the Tampa Bay Rays. You jump out ahead 3-0. But they peck away, and they get a run here and a run there, and they put together some good at bats, string together some base hits, and the next thing you know, it's already tied.
Inside and blocked by Mathis. Molina's got a good break, and he'll make it. Molina saw the ball bounce away from the catcher and took advantage, and that eliminates the possible double play situation.
Jeff Mathis did everything he could to try and block this slider. Slides over to his right, and then the ball ricochets off the heel of his glove and over towards third base. Molina knows what this feels like when a ball gets far enough away. You can advance, and you're right, you stay out of the double play in the infield. It's going to stay back now.
3-2. Well, here's where the strikeout would be something you'd love to have. If Zobrist puts it in play, it's going to be possible run. Now the infield is shortened up a bit with Molina at third. They have a shot to come home. Off the glove of Kelly Johnson. He has no play. Molina holds at third. That's a base hit for Zobrist, his third of the night.
And he saves a couple of runs. You see him creeping in on the right side with a backhand. knocks the ball down and just can't come up with it to make the play at first base. Hit for Zobrist, but that was a 2-run saving hit right there.
10 hits now for Tampa Bay. Bounced up the middle. Johnson steps on second to first for the double play. Molina comes in to score, and Tampa Bay has taken the lead. Tampa Bay has 10 hits. They've had a lot of base runners, and the Blue Jays have kicked it around in the field. First, Henderson Alvarez on a bunt. Then Laurie from right field throws wide of the mark. Escobar bobbles the ball, and then Rajai Davis on this base hit off the bat of Elliott Johnson goes down, tries to block the ball, and it goes off of him. Will Rhymes comes in to score off the air, but it has been another rough night in the field defensively for the Blue Jays.
37 errors now, the most in the American League.
So Henderson Alvarez will leave the ball game. And all they can do now is lose the game or get a no decision. Darren Oliver on. Tweeting Tuesday will take place Tuesday, May 29th. The Blue Jays will welcome in the Baltimore Orioles. Great prizes are to be won: first pitch, autographed merchandise, and T-shirts. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. May 29th, the next Blackberry Tweeting Tuesday.
Darren Oliver comes into the ballgame. That's a big run at third base to save. You got 3 left-handers in a row, and Oliver's had a great year. ERA 159. It's almost like I need to throw the pitch here on the outside part of the plate. Darren Oliver can do that. Left-handers this year hitting just .208 against them.
These left-handers know Darren Oliver well. These two teams met up in the postseason last couple of years, and Oliver was the left-handed specialist for the Rangers. Texas Rangers and Tampa Bay in the postseason, and Oliver was part of that Rangers bullpen. Boy, he's throwing the ball well. Keeps it simple, fastball slider for the most part, and he can really command that glove side fastball.
Move it around, move the ball around. It looks like he really judges the batter, the way he swings, and then he's going to counteract that. Henderson Alvarez cruising right along. Gave up a run in the 5th inning. And then some defensive errors and some base hits here in the 7th inning has knocked him out of the ballgame.
There's that slider, and Oliver strikes out Joyce. Mathis to first for the putout. Grant Oliver comes out and strikes out the one man he had faced. It's 6.5. Tampa Bay has taken a 4-3 lead. Coverage of the Blue Jays. Watch the action live all season from your smartphone. Download the Rogers Live app from your app store. Beautiful skyline of Toronto. As we see in tower high above Rogers Center. Blue Jays are down by a run. David Price now has a 4-3 lead. It'll be the bottom third of the order for the Blue Jays. Colby Rasmus goes after the first pitch. Will Rhymes waits on it. That's the first out.
David Price is starting to find it. 97 pitches now. The Blue Jays have hit a lot of ground ball outs or strikeouts the last few innings.
He's retired 10 straight, and he is pitched the Blue Jays differently than they have seen over the years. He's used a lot of changeups. He's backdoor with the cutter. Fastball inside. He can call on that pitch just about any time he wants it.
I like how he's pitching the right-handers. There's a changeup right there, and he's backdooring them with that slider. I also sense that he has turned it up a notch now since they've taken the lead.
David Price is making his 97th career start. Joel Peralta, the right-hander, loosening up. You mentioned the bullpen. They did a great job in last night's game. Pitched 8 strong innings.
You know, it took them 5 relievers to get through those 8 innings, and they called up a replacement today, an extra arm in the bullpen.
Josh Lukey has been added to the bullpen with Jeff Neiman, the starter, going on the DL. They'll probably call up a starter for Neiman's spot next time through the rotation. Off-speed pitch. Mathis got a piece of it. David Price trying to become a 6-game winner. James Shields and Lance Lynn, the only 6-game winners so far this season. CC Sabathia pitching tonight, as is Derek Lowe. They're both going for their 6th win. Strike 3 on the outside corner. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. John Lester Well, the complete game last night. Josh Beckett throws well against Seattle, and don't look now, but the Boston Red Sox are closing in on 500. They are now 17-19, just 2 games under 500.
Got off to a tough start last year. Played great baseball in the middle and then fell apart at the end.
Beckett with 4 hits over 7 innings. He walked 2 and struck out 9. Rich Hill, the left-hander, has come back from Tommy John surgery. He's added a quality arm to their bullpen. Two and 1. This is a 2-game series. Yankees will be in tomorrow night for 2 games. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the New York Mets will be here.
It's a tough stretch right now for the Blue Jays. This homestand against Tampa. You just mentioned the 2 New York teams, and then from here they go down to Tampa for 3, and then to Texas for 3 more.
Inside. Texas Rangers, the most wins in the American League, 23-13. They've only gone 10-7 at home, which is a little bit of a surprise. They're 13-6 on the road. Full count. Davis shoots it down the line. This is trouble. Benzovis over. Cuts it off, but Davis is headed for second. Here's the throw. He's in there with a head-first slide.
That's how you make things happen. He got an infield single his first time up. And then with 2 strikes and 2 outs, goes the other way. Price stays away from the right-handers again to Rajay. He was watching over there on that bench, anticipated it with that speed, makes it easily into second base.
The Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Two outs, back to the top of the order. Kelly Johnson singled in his first at-bat. He's also struck out and grounded out. Rajay Davis at second. Long drive down the left field line. It is foul. Kelly Johnson has opposite field power, but this one sliced into the seats. Kelly's hit 2 of his 7 home runs against lefty pitching. And that's what you have to do against left-handers. Go with what they give you.
Track the ball just a little bit longer. Stay behind the ball. I think he'll settle for a single into the outfield right here.
Off the outside corner. David Price has thrown as many as 119 pitches this season. Ground ball. Will Rhymes behind second, deep in the dirt, dug out by Carlos Pena. Pena, Gold Glove first baseman, showed why. Rhymes gets help. Price is out of the 7th. pitches, and tonight he's had a combination of pitches both sides of the plate.
We have seen him in the past use his fastball with authority, but tonight he is changing speeds. He is backdooring the right-handers. He's backing them off with the fastball. And so far tonight, David Price has 6 strikeouts. He's averaging about 6 strikeouts per game with a season high of 12. There are his numbers, his pitching line through 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks tonight for Price.
Henderson Alvarez threw the ball well, 6 2/3. He gave up 10 hits. 2 of the 4 runs he allowed were earned. He walked batter and struck out 1. Just 86 pitches from Alvarez. Price appears to be out of the game as Joe Madden shakes his hands and congratulates him for a job well done. Darren Oliver remains in the game. He struck out Matt Joyce to end the 7th.
We have seen David Price at his best last year. Remember when he had 14 strikeouts against Toronto? And that's what we usually see from Price. Get the popcorn ready.
Yeah, he's a fan. He's done now, and now he can enjoy his favorite food. Pena crosses up the defense and slices it down the left field line. Davis gets over and gets it back quickly. Pena has his first hit of the night. That's 4 straight innings. The Rays have got their leadoff man aboard.
Scored.
And that's when they took the game over.
Yep, scored him in the 5th. They had the leadoff hitter and then a double play in the 6th. Jason Frazier is now up. Leadoff hitter in the 7th, and he scored.
Luke Scott 0 for 3, reached on an error in the 4th.
He doesn't have to contend with the shift now with a runner at first base. Frazier is going to play a conventional defense. There they are.
Lefty on lefty with a runner at first. Pena had a good secondary lead at first base and he was thinking about breaking for second, but Mathis had moved in front of that ball in the dirt. Blue Jays have committed 4 errors for the first time this season. And that has been a real problem for John Farrell's ball club. They've had three error games, but this is the first time they've committed 4 errors in a game.
Is that expected with some of the young players on the team? Brett Lawrie's first full season at third. Henderson Alvarez, another error tonight. You mentioned it last night. I think there's 7 errors now by the pitchers this season.
Yeah, that's a high number. Pitchers have been involved and they've committed 7 errors. Breaking ball pulled to second. Kelly Johnson quickly to short, and that's all they'll get. First out of the inning. Take a look at the schedule ahead. The upcoming series. You mentioned the Yankees are Wednesday and Thursday, and then the New York Mets, the first series of interleague play, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Mets are 20 and 15, same as the Yankees. And then Tampa Bay, Texas, and the Orioles will be right here at Rogers Center, May 28th, 29th, and 30th. Jason Frazier will come on to face Sean Rodriguez when we come back. on Brady and Lang in the morning, 8:20 a.m. Eastern on the Fan 590 or fan590.com. Ricky Romero with Brady and Lang tomorrow morning. Jason Frazier out of the bullpen with one out here in the eighth inning. Darren Oliver had a strikeout and a fielder's choice in his 2/3 of an inning. Now he'll look to Jason Frazier.
Frazier picked up a hold his last time to the mound. That was back at Minnesota. 2/3 of an inning, a hit and a walk. Right-hander's 207. He comes right after you. Will use his fastball, keep it away from the right-handers.
Sean Rodriguez puts a charge in it for the fourth deck, but well fouled.
Sean Rodriguez has had a great month of May. Good start. He leads the team now with 14 hits this month. Puts the head out on that high inside fastball. He hit his second home run of the month. His last time up to right field. Raised that average to 241.
Rodriguez is behind 0-1. Sean Rodriguez 1 for 3 tonight against the right-hander Henderson Alvarez. Coming into this game, he was just hitting .213 against righty pitching.
Right, and over 300 versus lefties. He had a chance to play third base with Evan Longoria out.
He's always been an intriguing guy. He's a good base runner, good defender, can play second, play short. I think second base is his best position. But if he could develop some consistency hitting right-handed pitching, I think he'd be a very good everyday player.
His approach is a lot better this year. If you watch him, this is the second series that we had a chance to watch him. He's not jumping at the ball as much as we have seen him in the past. Staying back just a little bit longer and using his hands just a little bit more. That'll help him see the ball.
Sean Rodriguez's father, Johnny Rodriguez, is a minor league manager in the Cardinals system, former coach for the Yankees in the big leagues. So Sean's been around the game for a long time.
Yeah, he knows the game.
On the ground, Escobar backhands. Johnson for one, back to first, but in time. Sean Rodriguez can run.
Stay out of the double play. Luke Scott does a good job going in to try and break this up, and it just messes up the timing of Kelly Johnson, so the ball bounces to Encarnacion. If he could have thrown it on the fly, he would have been out. Rodriguez hustling all the way at first base, beats it out, keeps the inning alive.
Will Rhymes has had a good night. 2 for 3 with a couple of runs scored. Tampa Bay leads at 4-3. They've out-hit the Blue Jays 11-6. Joe Madden was asked about one of his concerns at the start of the season. It was depth, position player depth. And certainly it's been tested now with all the injuries. He currently has 8 players on the disabled list.
Felt that was the weakness of the team, that he didn't have a whole lot of depth to afford. And wouldn't you know it, they get hit right there. Pitching wise, they've got some players that they can afford to lose if they would have some injuries in their starting rotation. But the everyday players, but they make it work. He was telling me today, he said he's very proud of his guys. They come to work every day. They are expecting to win, even though they've got guys on the disabled list and big-time stars.
So it's popped in the air, should be playable. Kelly Johnson, the second baseman, moves under it and makes the catch. The inning is over. They played 7.5 here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays trail 4-3. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Town. Draybeck looking to bounce back and get back onto the right track after a couple of tough starts. Control being the issue, but you can bet he's addressed that in between. It all starts tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time. That's the pregame show with Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Hiroki Kuroda will go to the mound for the Yankees. He's 3-4 against Kyle Draybeck, who's 2-4.
Joel Peralta has come into the ballgame to pick up David Price. He has become the 8th inning man for Joe Maddon's team. There are his numbers: 0-2 with a 6.14 earned run average. Fastball, slider, splitter. That'll get a lot of strikeouts. And you see 11.7 per 9 innings. Peralta trying to pick up his starter will face Escobar to lead off the 8th inning.
Blue Jays 2-3-4 are down by a run. Joe Peralta did a great job for the Rays a year ago. And now Kyle Farnsworth has been put on a disabled list all year long, and they've got Fernando Rodney as their closer, but Joe Maddon hasn't called him the closer yet.
Yeah, he's kind of reluctant to name him as the closer, but he's always the guy in the 9th inning for him.
Peralta has saved 2 games in 4 opportunities, but Fernando Rodney's 10 for 10. Joe Maddon still believes that Kyle Farnsworth is his closer. Unfortunately, he's just not healthy right now. Two and 0. High and deep to right center, but Zobrist calls for it just shy of the warning track. 1 down.
Save during the homeowner sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Jose Bautista will step in with 1 out. Bautista has just faced Peralta twice. He's 0 for 2. Not much of a sampling for either the pitcher or the hitter.
Home run has been a problem for Joel Peralta. He has given up at least 1 home run in 3 of his last 4 appearances. Got to keep the ball down.
Trying to work Bautista away. Carlos Pena trying to get Ben Zobrist's attention to move Zobrist over more into the gap in right center. And there you see Zobrist now. He is way off the line.
Outfield is deep. They don't want any ball to get over their heads for extra bases.
Breaking ball on 2-0 for a strike. Jose Bautista is just sizing up a pitch. He thinks he can hit out of here, and hopefully Peralta will give him one that's hittable. Peralta has stayed away from Jose.
That's what they have to do. They have to stay away from him.
Three and one. Casey Jansen is standing by, ready down in the bullpen. Popped in the air. Should be playable for Pena. Foul ground. He makes the catch. Second out of the inning.
Looks like he had a pitch to hit. Just got underneath it and popped it up. Still the Jays have another home run threat at the plate.
Edwin Encarnacion hit his 12th homer off of David Price back in the third. A 2-run homer. Encarnacion has struck out twice tonight. He's 1 for 3. Elliott Johnson backing up. Matt Joyce, the left fielder, calls him off, and Peralta has a 1-2-3 8th inning. Look, go to the ninth. The Rays have a 4-3 lead. Casey Jansen on to pitch the top of the ninth inning. Jansen last pitched on Saturday when he picked up his second save of the season. Just trying to keep it a 1-run game here. He'll work to the Rays 8, 9, and 1 hitters.
Can't save it at home in extra innings, so you come in the ninth inning, hold it right there, and see if you can win it in the bottom of the ninth. Jansen, the closer for the Blue Jays now, is always in attack mode when he is on the mound.
Jose Molina. Ball on the strike. One and two. Blue Jays took a 3-0 lead off David Price in the third inning. They scored all three of their runs with 2 outs. And then the Rays just took advantage of some shaky Blue Jays defense. Strike 3 call. Molina caught looking at an outside fastball, 1 down here in the ninth. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Connected. Here's Ken Reed and Ivanka Osbach. Elliott Johnson. Johnson had a single in the 3-run 7th inning. His single went to left field, and Will Rhymes, running from second and third, was stopped by the third base coach, but then Rajai Davis committed an error and Rhymes came in to score. There's a little looper into right field. That gets down in front of Bautista. Johnson has his second hit of the night.
He was on base 3 times last night. 2 more times tonight. Getting some regular playing time. The everyday shortstop right now. Nice short swing. Good piece of hitting last time. 2 strikes, take the ball the other way. That time Jansen crowds him with a cutter and he pulls his hands in and picks up the base hit.
He now has a 7-game hit streak. He's 11 for 21 in that hit streak. Ben Zobrist had a big night again tonight. A couple of doubles. He's driven in a run. He also chipped in with a single. He's 3 for 4. No matter how Zobrist is swinging when he comes here, it always seems like he ends up leaving hot.
Remember a home run he hit, which was the only runs of the game. I believe it was off of Ricky Romero last year.
Goes after that high fastball.
Yeah, certain parts you just feel comfortable. See the ball a little bit better. Fernando Rodney is now getting loose for Tampa Bay.
Casey Jansen into the game here in the ninth. One and two. This officer has a baseball, and it looks like he's trying to find a young fan, and sure enough, there's a little girl. It's a happy fan now. Got a souvenir baseball here tonight. Johnson's a good base runner. He's 6 for 7 in steals, so Casey Jansen's keeping him close at first.
Tampa Bay manufactures runs probably better than any team in the American League with that speed. Missing a couple of big weapons offensively in Desmond Jennings and Evan Longoria.
Everyday left fielder, everyday third baseman. They're also missing Sam Ford, one of the real important extra guys they had last year. Brandon Allen, who they just acquired, he's on the saver list as well. A couple of catchers, Robinson Chirinos and Jose Robiton. 1 and 2. Not going. Popped in the air into left field. Rajai Davis coming on. Zobrist retired. Second out of the inning.
But they come to the ballpark expecting to win. And with that starting staff that they have and the way they play defense, you don't need a whole lot of hitting. Joe Madden certainly wishes they had a little bit more, but you don't need a ton when you've got that type of pitching and defense.
Joe Madden's in his 7th season with Tampa Bay. And he has turned the Rays organization around. When you think of Tampa Bay now, you think of a postseason team. Been in the postseason 3 of the last 4 years. I mentioned they went to the World Series in 2008. Lost to the Phillies. There goes Johnson. He is hung up. Kelly Johnson will tag out Elliott Johnson, and that will end the inning. So the Blue Jays will go to the bottom of the ninth, down by a run. They've got to stage a comeback. Jays have had their troubles with the Tampa Bay Rays. They are 26-50 since 2008. And that's the year the Rays went to the World Series. And since then, they've been a perennial postseason team. Fernando Radley, 10 for 10 in saves, comes on in the ninth.
Yeah, he's also chipped in with a couple of wins, an ERA of 0.54. He's pitched in 17 games. 3 walks, 15 strikeouts, a 197 batting average against. He's a different type of pitcher than the one the Blue Jays have seen over the last couple of years. He has harnessed that great stuff. Good hard fastball and a good changeup. Blue Jays are going to send up a left-hander to face him.
Eric Thames picked up an RBI on Sunday in Minneapolis on a ground out to the first baseman. Came in the 8th inning. He's 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter. Goes after the first pitch and fouls it out of play. Radney's got a good fastball and a very good changeup.
One of the best, I think, in the American League. He's got great arm speed and arm action on that changeup. It's tough to pick up. You've got to gear yourself for that fastball because it's a mid to upper 90s mile-an-hour fastball. And then he drops that on you right there. 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, when it's about 15 miles an hour difference, that's when it's really a challenge. Radney spent last season with the Angels, his last 2 years with Anaheim. Another changeup. How about that? When you can throw back-to-back changeups, you know you got a good one. First down of the inning.
You tease him with the fastball first pitch, and then you really mess up the timing with that changeup. He's got the batters out in front.
Brett Laurie has gone 1 for 2. He was also hit by a pitch. Way outside, 2-0.
A tough combination to master. The fastball, the way he throws it, and then to let up and throw a changeup. You've got to be able to have the same type of arm speed to really throw off the batter.
Chopped toward third. That's foul. Good fastball from Rodney, and Laurie beat it into the ground in front of home. This is where Rodney really has the advantage. It's fastball count, and he'll throw that changeup anytime.
Yeah, screw you right into the ground. Got to use your hands. There are his numbers from the 7th inning on and later.
Close one. It's 3-1. Now you just got to take a shot. He's going to throw you a fastball. Just gear it up and see if you can knock it out of the yard.
And you're thinking extra bases right now.
Yep.
You're not trying to hit a soft single anywhere.
And he'll take the walk. Comes with one. Wow. Bill Miller with a delayed call. Looked like he was off the plate. Laurie was headed to first.
Yeah, it fooled all of us. See Brett Laurie look back at it. Watch where this ball ends up. It looked like a fastball away. He set down to first base, and it's going to be called back. This one will really show if it got any of the plate. Yeah, nope.
Well off the plate. Full count. 1 out. And now he calls him out. And Laurie threw him out and in the helmet. And that's going to cost Brett Laurie. And now they've got to get Laurie and get him back in the dugout. And John Farrell is going to go talk with Bill Miller. 2 questionable calls in the 9th inning of a 1-run game.
First one that looked like it was outside. Said, okay, that's one. And then one that looked like it was up to Brett Laurie.
And there goes John Farrell, and he wasn't going to leave till he got tossed. But the 3-1 pitch looked clearly off the plate. And then 3-2. Laurie was down to first again.
Change up. It looked high and possibly outside. Brett Laurie can't believe it. Then he gets thrown out. That's the one that might cost him right there. Throwing the helmet and bouncing it off the umpire. Watch if is it high, and it looks like it's too high.
Looked like it was high and outside. And that's going to cost Brett Laurie. He threw his equipment, and unfortunately it hit the umpire. Two outs, Colby Erasmus. Bouncing ball. Pena backs up on it. Rodney's at first, and the game is over. Rodney picks up his 11th save. A disappointing finish to the 2-game series. The Blue Jays had a 3-0 lead, and then Laurie gets thrown out and then throws his helmet, and it hits the umpire. And then John Farrell gets tossed out, and now, unfortunately, the fans have become involved. And that should never be the case.
No.
But the Blue Jays got up 3-0 and just couldn't make it stand up against David Price, who improves to 11-2 against Toronto.
That's the thing you worry about. You're up 3-0. You have David Price on the ropes. He finds his mojo, shuts down the Blue Jays the rest of the way, and gives the offense a chance to come back and win it.
And here the umpires are headed for their locker room, and then somebody threw something from the stand. You can see Bill Miller pointed who it was, and I'm sure that person will be handled appropriately. Mario Catino with the stadium security. We'll be back tomorrow night. The Yankees will be in town for 2 now. Stay tuned for Connected. Ken Reed, Ivanka Osmak will react to all of this.